Be me, 42 years old. Standing in my kitchen at 6 in the morning, staring at the coffee maker like it holds answers. Can't sleep anymore. Haven't been able to for months. Used to pride myself on needing only 5 hours, powered by purpose and conviction. Now I lie awake, replaying conversations, dissecting where everything went wrong. The coffee maker gurgles, and I realize I forgot to put the carafe underneath. Watch the coffee splatter across the counter, and don't even move to stop it. This feels like a metaphor for something, but I'm too tired to articulate what. Eventually turn it off, and start wiping up the mess with paper towels. Paper towels I bought in bulk because they're more practical, even though I spent years lecturing others about waste. Funny how principles erode when you're just trying to get through the day. Sit down at the kitchen table with instant coffee instead. Tastes like regret, which seems appropriate. Look around at the house I bought myself, the space I cultivated to reflect my values. Bookshelves full of theory and manifestos, art prints from women artists, everything deliberately chosen. It all feels like set dressing now. A stage where the show closed and everyone went home. Check my phone, even though I know I shouldn't. 3 missed calls from my publicist about the podcast interview I was supposed to confirm. 2 emails from the organization asking when I'll finish the keynote speech draft. 1 text from my mother asking if everyone is all right. In that way she has of knowing they aren't, don't respond to any of them. Instead, scroll back through photos from 4 years ago. There we all are at the march, all 5 of us. The kids holding signs they'd made themselves. Olivia was 13 then, already tall and serious. Her sign read, "The future is ours to write." Sophie was 11, gap-toothed and enthusiastic, her sign covered in purple marker and glitter. Marcus was 10, quiet even then but seemingly engaged, his sign simple, "Equality now." Look at my face in that photo, the certainty radiating from every pixel. I knew exactly who I was and what I was doing. I was doing it right, and everyone else was doing it wrong. The righteousness was a warm, constant presence, like a second heartbeat. Close the photos, and set the phone face down. Hear footsteps upstairs. Someone's awake. Probably Sophie. She has early morning dance rehearsal. Dance rehearsal. Still can't think about it, without this acidic feeling in my chest. Not anger exactly, though there's some of that. More like watching a building you constructed with your own hands being demolished while you stand there holding the useless blueprints. She comes downstairs in pink, because of course she does now. Everything is pink or lavender or soft yellow. Her hair is in some elaborate braid she learned from a tutorial, makeup already applied with surprising skill. "Morning," she says without looking at me, going straight to the fridge. "Morning, sweetie. Do you want me to make you?" "I'm just having a yogurt. I'm not hungry in the mornings." She's always not hungry in the mornings now, watching her figure for dance, for the aesthetic. I've started and deleted so many conversations about this in my head, about how she's internalizing impossible beauty standards, how she's performing femininity for the male gaze. But I tried those conversations 6 months ago, and they went so badly I still feel the reverberations. She sits at the table across from me, scrolling her phone while eating. I can see her screen reflected in the window, some video of a girl talking about makeup. "How are you feeling about the showcase next month?" "Fine. Good. Mrs. Chen says I might get the lead variation if I keep improving." "That's wonderful, Sophie. I'm proud of how hard you're working." She looks up at me then, something sharp in her eyes. "Are you, though?" "What? Of course I am. You didn't come to the last performance. I had a commitment. I explained that. The conference was scheduled months in advance." "Right, your commitments." She goes back to her yogurt and I feel the familiar helplessness rising. This is how our conversations go now, skating on the surface of things, both of us armed. She finishes and rinses her bowl without being asked, a habit from childhood that somehow survived the ideological earthquake. "Taylor's mom is driving us. I'll be back around 11. Taylor, whose mother volunteers for political campaigns I publicly opposed, who bakes elaborate cakes for every holiday, who embodies everything I've spent my career critiquing. Sophie thinks Taylor's mom is wonderful, has said so explicitly. Okay, have a good practice." She's already heading to the door, bag over her shoulder, moving through the house like I'm just furniture. Watch her leave and finish my terrible instant coffee. Contemplate making real coffee now that I've cleaned up the first disaster. Decide against it. open my laptop instead. Look at the draft of the keynote speech I'm supposed to deliver. Raising the next generation of activists, parenting as political praxis. Stare at that title until the words stop meaning anything. I proposed this speech 8 months ago, when I still believed I had something to say on the subject. When I still believed my children were going to be my greatest success story. Used to mention them constantly in talks and articles, carefully anonymized but present. How I was raising them without gendered expectations. How I was teaching them to question everything. How my son played with dolls and my daughters built with blocks, and nobody was limited by arbitrary social categories. How we discussed consent and bodily autonomy and systemic oppression at the dinner table. How they were growing into conscious, critical thinkers who would change the world. The praise I got for this, the way other people looked at me with admiration and envy, the way I felt like I'd cracked some code everyone else was too conventional to see. Scroll to the section about teenage years, the part I can't seem to write, cursor blinking in the white space like a taunt. Close the laptop harder than necessary. Hear more footsteps upstairs. Olivia's alarm must have gone off. She takes longer to emerge. She's always been slower in the mornings. When she comes down, she's dressed in clothes that would have been unremarkable before but now feel loaded, feminine but not performative. She'd say if I asked just what she likes. She's wearing the necklace her boyfriend gave her, delicate gold chain with a small pendant. Boyfriend. A word I never thought would bother me but now sits in my mind like a stone. Not that she has a boyfriend, that's fine, that's normal. But the particular boyfriend she has, the particular way she is with him. Morning, Mom. Morning, honey. Want some breakfast? I'll make something. You eaten? Just coffee. She gives me a look, the same look she's been giving me for months, like I'm a problem she's trying to solve. You should eat something. I'm fine, Liv. She makes herself eggs and toast with a competence that should make me proud. I taught her to cook, insisted all the kids learn, no gendered division of labor in this house. But somehow even her scrambling eggs feels like a repudiation now. She sits down with her plate and I brace myself without knowing exactly what for. So Dad called last night, there it is. Their father and I divorced when Marcus was 5, mostly amicable, mostly inevitable. We'd grown in different directions, wanted different things, the standard story. He lives 2 hours away, sees the kids regularly, pays his support on time. We've been successfully co-parenting for years without major incident. Except lately, the kids have been mentioning him more, comparing, contrasting. Oh, how is he? Good. He asked if we wanted to spend part of the summer with him and Jennifer. Jennifer, the woman he married 3 years ago, and V, occupational therapist who volunteers at animal shelters. Perfectly nice, perfectly conventional, perfectly happy in her perfectly traditional marriage. The kids love her, have told me so, repeatedly. That sounds nice. You 3 should go if you want to. You always say that. Say what? If you want to. Like you don't care what we do. That's not I'm respecting your autonomy, Liv. You're 17, you can decide how you want to spend your time. She stabs at her eggs with more force than necessary. Maybe I don't want to always be making autonomous decisions. Maybe sometimes I want you to act like you care. I do care. I care enormously. I just don't want to impose my will on you. Right. Because imposing your will would be authoritarian or whatever. The or whatever lands like a slap. This from the daughter who used to read my articles and ask thoughtful questions, who came to my office and sat quietly doing homework while I worked, absorbing the atmosphere of purposeful labor, who I genuinely believed understood what I was trying to build. Olivia, that's not fair, isn't it? You spent our whole childhood telling us to question authority and think critically and make our own choices, and now you're surprised we're making choices you don't like. I'm not surprised, You just what? You're clearly miserable, Mom. You barely sleep, you're not eating, you walk around the house like a ghost. I'm fine, I'm just busy with work. You're not fine, and it's not just work. We stare at each other across the table, and I see my own eyes in her face. Same hazel color, same shape, genetically linked and ideologically miles apart. I know you're disappointed in us, she says finally, quietly. I'm not disappointed. You are. You're disappointed that Sophie wants to be a dancer and wear pretty clothes. You're disappointed that I'm with Connor and actually like spending time on his family's farm. You're disappointed that Marcus. I am. Not disappointed. I'm just worried you're limiting yourselves based on external pressures and socialization see, you can't even help it. We can't just want things. It always has to be because we've been brainwashed by the patriarchy or capitalism or whatever system you're critiquing this week. Stand up without meaning to, coffee cup still in hand. That is not what I'm saying. I have spent my entire adult life fighting to expand the possibilities for people like you, so you could have choices I never had. And yes, it's painful to watch you choose constriction when you could have freedom. Your version of freedom, though. Your very specific definition of what liberation looks like. There are objective measures of, are there, or are there just your measures? Marcus appears in the doorway then, lanky and quiet in his basketball warm-ups. Basketball. Another development I'm still processing. He looks between us, reading the temperature instantly. Bad time? No. Olivia says, standing up with her half-finished plate. I'm done anyway. I have to get to school early for the calculus study group. She leaves her dishes in the sink and disappears upstairs. Marcus hovers uncertainly. You okay, Mom? Yes, honey. I'm fine. Want me to make you something? Nah. I'll grab something at school. Early practice. He's already taller than me. Happened sometime last year. His voice fully changed, shoulders broadening, becoming unmistakably male in ways that shouldn't matter, but somehow do. Not because I think masculinity is bad. I've never thought that. That's a mischaracterization of everything I believe. But because he's embracing it so unselfconsciously, so completely, without any of the critical examination I tried to instill. How's the team looking this year? Pretty good. Coach thinks we might make regionals. That's great, Marcus. You could come to a game sometime, if you wanted. The careful way he says it, protecting himself from anticipated rejection. I'll check my schedule. Yeah, okay. He grabs his bag and heads for the door, then pauses. Liv's right, you know, about the eating thing. You should take care of yourself. Then he's gone too, and I'm alone in the kitchen with the dishes and the silence. Look at the clock and realize I've been awake for 2 hours and achieved nothing. Think about the work I need to do, the emails waiting, the speech I can't write. Instead, I start washing dishes mechanically. Used to have a dishwasher, got rid of it during my minimalism phase. Convinced myself that manual labor was more mindful, more intentional. Now I think I just wanted to create more opportunities for suffering to prove my commitment. My phone buzzes with a calendar reminder. Editorial meeting 10 a.m. The magazine wants a piece about motherhood and activism. My editor's been asking for months. I keep telling her I'm working on it, finding the right angle. Truth is, I've written and deleted the same piece 17 times. Every version reads like a lie. Dry my hands and go upstairs to shower and dress. Catch my reflection in the bathroom mirror and barely recognize who I see. When did I start looking so tired? When did these lines appear? Not aging? I don't care about aging. I've written extensively about the tyranny of youth culture. But the exhaustion in my eyes, the defeated slope of my shoulders, shower and water too hot, dress and clothes I don't register, drive to the office on autopilot, park in my usual spot. The building houses 3 nonprofits and a progressive media collective. My office is small but mine, window overlooking the street, walls covered in my own curated activism. Colleagues greet me in the hallway with varying degrees of warmth. I used to think I had real friendships here. Now I wonder if it was all ideological alliance masquerading as connection. The meeting is about the upcoming issue. Everyone pitching ideas with enthusiasm I can't match. My editor looks at me, expectantly, when it's my turn. Still working on the motherhood piece, I hear myself say, Great, we're really looking forward to that one. Your perspective as someone who's actively raising conscious kids is so valuable. Nod and smile and feel like a fraud. After the meeting, I retreat to my office and close the door. Sit at my desk and stare at my computer screen. Pull up old articles I've written, reading them like artifacts from someone else's life. On raising boys without toxic masculinity, parenting beyond the binary. My children are not my property. Autonomy from birth. All of them so certain, so clear about cause and effect. Do this, not that. Raise them this way. Avoid these pitfalls. The implicit promise that if you follow the formula, you'll produce enlightened humans. Scroll through comments, mostly supportive, some critical. The critical ones used to bounce off me like rain. I was armored in rightness. Now I read them differently, wondering if they saw something I missed. One comment on the article about raising Marcus. Bet this kid grows up with serious issues. Another. These kids are going to rebel so hard. Another. Imagine using your children as props for your ideology. Close the browser before I fall further down that hole. Try to work on the speech. Manage 2 paragraphs before deleting them. Try to answer emails. Get through 3 before losing focus. Stare out the window at people walking by living their unremarkable lives. Wonder if they're happier than me with their unexamined choices. Probably not, I tell myself. Ignorance isn't actually bliss, but I don't believe it the way I used to. My phone rings. My mother's name on the screen. Debate not answering. No, she'll just keep calling. Hi, Mom. Hi, sweetheart, how are you? Fine, just at work. I was thinking about coming to visit next month. Would that be all right? My mother, who has never understood my choices, who raised me in the traditional mode I spent my adult life. Rejecting, who nevertheless loves me in her uncomplicated way, who worries. Sure, that would be nice. How are my grandchildren? They're fine, busy with school and activities. Sophie's still dancing? Olivia mentioned it last time I talked to her. The fact that my children call their grandmother regularly, share their lives with her freely. Yes, she has a showcase coming up. How wonderful. I'd love to come see it if I'm visiting. I'm sure she'd like that. Pause on the line, can feel my mother choosing words carefully. And how are you, really? You sound tired. I'm fine, Mom. Just a lot going on with work. You work too hard. You always have. This is familiar territory. Her gentle criticism of my choices wrapped in concern. Someone has to do this work. I know you believe that. I just worry you're sacrificing too much. Want to snap at her. Defend myself. Recite all the reasons my work matters. But I'm too tired, and she's too genuinely worried. I appreciate your concern. I really do need to get back to work, though. All right, honey. I love you. Love you too. Hang up and put my head in my hands. Sit like that for I don't know how long. Until my neck hurts. Give up on being productive. Tell my editor I'm not feeling well. Drive home early. The house is empty. All 3 kids, still at their various activities. Walk through rooms that feel like a museum, to failed convictions. The toy box I kept deliberately mixed. No separation between dolls and trucks. The kids' bathroom with the gender-neutral products I carefully selected. The bookshelf in the hallway, with age-appropriate books about diversity and justice. All of it still here. Artifacts of who I was trying to create. Sit on the couch and let myself remember when it felt like it was working. Marcus at 6, saying he didn't think it was fair that only girls could wear skirts if they wanted. Olivia at 8, asking thoughtful questions about why some jobs paid more than others. Sophie at 5, confidently telling another child that pink wasn't just for girls. The pride I felt watching them navigate the world with tools I'd given them. The validation every time they parroted back something I'd taught them. When did it shift? Was there a single moment or a gradual erosion? Think back, trying to pinpoint the beginning of the end. Marcus in middle school, coming home from a friend's house talking about video games I'd forbidden, not because of violence, I'd explained, but because of the way they depicted women. The look on his face when I explained this again, like I was speaking a foreign language. Olivia at 14, suddenly interested in clothes in ways that felt different, more intentional. Not just self-expression, but specifically feminine expression, traditionally so. My attempts to discuss it met with eye rolls and door closing. Sophie at 12, discovering dance and falling into it completely. The grace and beauty and performance of it all, everything I'd tried to complicate. Each shift small enough to dismiss, to think it was a phase. But they didn't phase out, they phased in. And then Connor appeared in Olivia's life last year. Polite, conventional Connor from a farming family, planning to take over the family business. Who calls me ma'am and opens doors and embodies a kind of masculinity I've spent my career analyzing and critiquing. Who Olivia looks at like he hung the moon. Who treats her with genuine respect, while also being completely traditional in his values. The cognitive dissonance nearly broke me. Because I couldn't say he was treating her badly, he wasn't. I couldn't say she was unhappy. She was radiant. Could only watch her fold herself into a life I never imagined for her. And when I tried to talk to her about it, really talk about the long-term implications, She listened patiently and then said, "I know all your arguments, Mom. I grew up hearing them. I just disagree. I just disagree." Like everything I'd taught her was just one opinion among many. Like decades of feminist theory and activism and thought could be weighed and found wanting by a 16-year-old in love. The powerlessness of that moment. And Marcus, joining the basketball team despite my concerns about sports culture and masculinity. Coming home with stories about the team bonding and the coach's mentorship. Developing friendships with boys who seemed nice enough but utterly conventional. Starting to care about things like his vertical jump and his sprint time. His body becoming a tool for dominance in a way that should trouble him but doesn't. When I tried to discuss it, he just looked confused. "It's just basketball, Mom. I like it. I'm good at it. Why does it have to be more than that?" Why does it have to be more than that? Because everything is more than that, I wanted to scream. Because nothing exists in a vacuum. Because sports culture perpetuates hierarchies and toxic masculinity and... But looking at his confused, slightly hurt face, I couldn't continue. And Sophie, my youngest, my baby, who rejected everything I tried to give her wholesale, who wanted princess movies and pink bedrooms and ballet classes, who seemed to instinctively gravitate toward everything I'd worked to expand beyond. Why can't I just like what I like? She asked me once, age 13, after another conversation that went nowhere. "You can," I said. "I just want you to think about why you like it." "I have thought about it. I like it because it makes me happy. Why isn't that enough?" Why isn't that enough? Because happiness without consciousness is just complacency, I thought but didn't say. Because I wanted more for you than just happiness. But what kind of mother wants more than happiness for her children? Sit on the couch as the afternoon light fades, still in my work clothes. Hear the front door open. Sophie, back from rehearsal. She comes into the living room, stops when she sees me. "You're home early." "Wasn't feeling well," she hovers, uncertain, then sits in the chair across from me. "Are you okay?" "Yes, honey, just a headache." She doesn't believe me, but doesn't push. "How was rehearsal?" "Good, really good actually. Mrs. Chen wants me to audition for the pre-professional company." That's really an achievement, Sophie. You've worked hard." "Yeah." Silence stretches between us. "You're not going to come to the showcase, are you?" The question lands in my chest like a weight. "I'm going to try. I just have the conference that week and it's okay, Mom. I get it. Your work is important." The way she says it, without rancor, somehow makes it worse. "You're important, Sophie. You're more important than my work." She looks at me with something like pity. "Then why does it never feel that way?" Don't have an answer. She gets up and goes to the kitchen, starts making herself a snack. Watch her move through the space with an ease I don't feel anywhere anymore. "Can I ask you something?" I call. Out. She appears in the doorway with an apple and peanut butter. "Sure. When did you start being unhappy with how I raised you?" She considers this, really thinks about it. "I don't think I'm unhappy with how you raised me. I just don't want to be you." The honesty of it is breathtaking. "Can you tell me why?" She comes back, sits down, looks at me directly. "You're miserable, Mom. You've built this whole life around being right about things, and you work all the time, and you're always angry about something, and you have no joy. I've watched you my whole life and thought, I don't want that. I have joy. When's the last time you did something just because it made you happy, not because it was ideologically consistent or politically important?" Open my mouth and nothing comes out. "That's what I thought," she says, not unkindly. "My work matters, Sophie. The things I fight for, they're important. I know they matter to you, but they're not everything, and the way you do. It's like you think if you're not suffering for it, it doesn't count. That's not true, isn't it? You gave away our dishwasher because convenience was capitalist or whatever. You won't buy decent coffee because the good brands have problematic supply chains. You won't date because men are socialized wrong and relationships are power structures. You've optimized all the pleasure out of your life and called it consciousness. Hearing my life summarized by my 15-year-old daughter, the accuracy of it making me feel flayed. I wanted to show you three that life could be different, that you didn't have to accept the status quo. And we heard you. We just decided we wanted something else. But what you want is the status quo, Sophie. Traditional femininity, conventional beauty standards, all the things that all the things that make me happy, that feel right to me. And maybe that's not consciousness the way you define it, but it's my life and my choice, weaponized against me, the autonomy I preached coming home to roost. I'm not trying to control you, I know, but you're disappointed in us, all three of us, and we can feel it all the time. She finishes her snack and stands up. I have homework. Feel better, Mom. Leaves me sitting there as the room darkens around me. Hear her upstairs in her room, music playing softly. Marcus comes home next, calls out a greeting, thunders upstairs to his room. Olivia is the last, comes in around 7, finds me still on the couch, turns on a lamp. Mom, have you been sitting here all afternoon? Just thinking. Have you eaten anything? Not hungry. She disappears into the kitchen, comes back with crackers and cheese. Eat something anyway. Obey because it's easier than arguing. She sits next to me on the couch, not touching but present. Sophie texted me, said you guys talked. More like she eviscerated my entire worldview, but yes. Olivia almost smiles. She's pretty direct. She gets perfect. That from me, apparently, along with nothing else. That's not true, isn't it? All three of you have rejected everything I tried to teach you. Olivia is quiet for a moment. We didn't reject everything. You taught us to think for ourselves. We're doing that. But you're not thinking critically. You're just accepting. See, that's the thing. We are thinking critically. We're just coming to different conclusions than you wanted. Eat a cracker mechanically, tasteless in my mouth. I don't understand how I got it so wrong. You didn't get it wrong. You just thought there was one right answer and you had it. There are structural realities, Liv. Systems of oppression that don't stop existing just because you choose not to acknowledge them. I know. I've heard the analysis 1,000 times, and some of it I agree with. But that doesn't mean your way is the only way to live a good life. Your way is going to limit you. My way is going to make me happy. Happiness isn't everything. Why not? Why isn't happiness enough? The same question Sophie asked, circling back. Because consciousness matters. Justice matters. Fighting for a better world matters. And I can't do any of that while also wearing dresses and dating Connor and maybe wanting to get married someday. You can, but you don't think I will. You think I'm selling out, betraying the cause, wasting my potential, realize I'm crying, and don't remember when that started. I think I'm watching you choose a smaller life than you could have. Olivia takes my hand, the first physical affection between us in months. Mom, listen to me. My life isn't smaller, just because it looks different than yours. I'm going to college. I'm going to have a career. I'm also going to have a family and a husband, and maybe live on a farm and make jam and host Thanksgiving dinner. And all of that is going to be my choice, my life, lived on my terms. But the terms have been set by what? By history? By society? Maybe. Or maybe I just like what I like and want what I want, and that's okay. It's not that simple. Why not? You're the one making it complicated. She squeezes my hand and lets go. I love you, Mom. Marcus loves you. Sophie loves you. But we can't be your proof of concept. We're just people trying to figure out our own lives. She gets up and heads for the stairs. I'm going to call Connor and then do homework. You should eat more than crackers. Alone, again, in the half-dark living room, pull out my phone and scroll through social media. See posts from colleagues, people I admire, activists doing important work. Used to feel connected to this community, part of something larger. Now it feels like watching through glass. See a friend posted about her daughter getting accepted to an engineering program. Another posted about her son volunteering at a reproductive rights organization. Their children performing ideology correctly, being who their parents intended. Feel a surge of something ugly and envious. Close the app and open my photos instead. Scroll back years, watching my children get younger. There's Marcus at 7, wearing the dress he insisted on for a week. I was so proud of that phase, wrote about it, used it as evidence that kids would reject gender norms if given the chance. The dress phase lasted exactly 9 days. There's Olivia at 9, serious and thoughtful, reading a book about women scientists, who is now reading romance novels and watching cooking videos. There's Sophie at 4, building an elaborate block structure, who now choreographs dances and practices in pink tutus. Keep scrolling back to when they were babies, tiny and helpless and full of potential. when I could still believe they would become exactly who I envisioned, when the future felt like a project I could complete successfully through sufficient effort and correct principles. Remember holding each of them as newborns, making promises that I would raise them free from the limitations I'd faced, that I would give them tools to dismantle oppressive systems, that they would be warriors for justice, conscious and committed. Such certainty in those promises, such conviction that I knew the right way. Get up from the couch finally, body stiff from sitting, heat up some soup, eat it standing at the counter. Can hear the kids in their separate rooms, separate lives. Used to insist on family dinners every night, discussions around the table. When did we stop doing that? Try to remember the last time all 5 of us ate together. Can't. Wash my bowl and go upstairs to my own room, past Marcus's door, slightly ajar. Can see him at his desk, headphones on, doing homework. His room is covered in basketball posters and team photos, evidence of a life I don't fully understand. Olivia's door is closed, but I can hear her voice, talking to Connor, the warm, intimate tone she uses with him. She sounds happy in a way she never sounds with me anymore. Sophie's door is open. She's at her mirror, practicing positions, arms above her head, back arched, the discipline and beauty of it. She catches my eye in the mirror, doesn't stop. "Good night, honey," I say. "Night, Mom." Go to my room and close the door. Sit on my bed, surrounded by my own artifacts. Books I've written, awards I've won, evidence of a meaningful career. Pull out my laptop and open the speech document again. Raising the next generation of activists, parenting as political praxis. Stare at it, and finally let myself acknowledge the truth. I can't write this speech. I can't stand in front of an audience and tell them how to raise conscious children. I can't pretend I have answers when my own children are evidence I don't. Delete the entire document, write an email to the conference organizers withdrawing from the speaking slot. Cite personal reasons, apologize for the late notice. Send it before I can reconsider. My publicist is going to be furious. The organization is going to be disappointed. My reputation will take a hit. Don't care, can't care, too empty to care. Lie back on my bed, fully clothed. Remember a conversation with Olivia years ago. She must have been 12. She'd asked me what I wanted to be when I grew up. I'd explained I was already grown up. This was what I wanted to be. She'd looked confused and asked, "But are you happy?" I'd given her some answer about how happiness wasn't the goal, meaning was. She'd accepted this at 12, but clearly never internalized it. My phone buzzes with responses to my withdrawal email. Don't read them. Instead, open a text to my mother. "You were right. I work too much and I've sacrificed too much. I don't know how to fix it." Her response comes immediately. "You don't have to fix it all at once. Just start showing up for your children. The rest will follow." Showing up. Such simple advice. Why does it feel impossible? Because showing up means witnessing their choices, means watching them build lives I don't approve of. Means accepting that everything I believed about raising them was either wrong or incomplete. Means living with the evidence of my failure every day. The despair sits on my chest like a physical weight. This is what Sophie meant about me having no joy. This is what they all see when they look at me now. Someone who built her identity on quicksand and is slowly sinking. Fall asleep in my clothes with the light on. Wake up at 3 a.m. disoriented. Change into pajamas and get back into bed. Lie awake until my alarm goes off at 6. The next day is the same, and the day after that. Stop going to the office, claim I'm sick, work from home on things that don't matter. My editor calls. Concerned, I tell her I'm fine. My publicist calls, angry about the withdrawn speech. I let it go to voicemail. The kids move around me like I'm a ghost. Sophie leaves early for dance, comes home late, barely speaks. Marcus has practice and games and team dinners, a whole life elsewhere. Olivia spends weekends at Connor's family farm, comes back glowing. I drift through the house accomplishing nothing, until one evening about 2 weeks into this fog, there's a knock on my bedroom door. All 3 kids enter, clearly having planned this. My heart starts racing, fight or flight kicking in. "We need to talk," Olivia says, and they arrange themselves on my bed. I'm at my desk, spinning my chair to face them. We're worried about you, Sophie says. I'm fine. You're not fine, Marcus says, his voice certain. You've been in here for 2 weeks, barely eating or sleeping or doing anything. I'm just taking some time to what? Fall apart? Olivia's voice is sharp. Because that's what's happening. I'm dealing with some things. You're dealing with us? Sophie says. With the fact that we're not who you wanted us to be. The directness of it steals my breath. That's not... Mom, stop. Marcus leans forward, elbows on his knees. We know. We've always known you. We're disappointed. I'm not disappointed in you three. I'm disappointed in myself. Olivia shakes her head. No, you're disappointed in us. You can say it. We can handle it. Look at their faces. These strangers who used to be my babies. I don't understand how I raised you with consciousness and critical thinking, and you still chose. Chose what? Sophie's eyes flash. Chose to be happy? Chose to live lives that feel authentic to us? Ever. Chose to accept systems and structures that limit you. Or chose to find freedom within them, Olivia says. Did you ever consider that? There is no freedom within oppressive systems. That's definitional. Marcus makes a frustrated sound. See, this is what we're talking about. You can't hear us. You just hear your own theories. I'm listening. Are you? Olivia challenges. Because every time we try to tell you who we are, you tell us we're wrong. That we've been socialized or indoctrinated or we just don't understand. I've given you the tools to understand. You've given us your tools, Sophie says. Your framework, your way of seeing the world. But it's not the only way. Some ways are more conscious than others. According to you, Marcus says. We're all quiet for a moment. You can feel this slipping away from me, whatever this intervention was supposed to be. Do you love us? Sophie asks suddenly. The question is so unexpected, I just stare at her. What? Of course I love you. How can you even ask that? How can you even ask that? Because it doesn't feel like you love who we actually are. It feels like you love who you wanted us to be. The words land like blows. That's not true. I love you exactly as you are. Then prove it, Olivia says. Come to Sophie's showcase next week. I have the conference. You withdrew from the conference, Marcus says. Sophie told us. Of course they talk to each other about me. Come to my showcase, Sophie repeats. Sit in the audience and watch me dance, and don't think about whether it's feminist enough or whether I'm performing femininity for the male gaze or any of that. Just watch your daughter do something she loves. And come to one of my games, Marcus adds. Just one. Watch me play basketball and be good at it and enjoy it without analyzing the toxic masculinity of sports culture. And have dinner with me and Connor, Olivia says. Actually get to know him instead of seeing him as a symbol of traditionalism you need to deconstruct. They're all looking at me, waiting. This is the moment. I can say yes and mean it, and show up for their lives as they actually are, or I can continue mourning the children I thought I'd have. The choice shouldn't be this hard. I want to, I hear myself say, and my voice cracks. I want to be there for you. I just don't know how to reconcile. You don't have to reconcile anything, Olivia interrupts. You just have to show up. There's that phrase again. Just show up. As if it's simple. As if it doesn't require dismantling everything I've built my identity around. What if I can't give you what you want? The admission feels like failure. What if I can't just accept your choices without critique? We're not asking you to abandon your beliefs, Marcus says. We're asking you to make room for ours, even when yours are objectively more limiting. Sophie actually laughs, but it's not unkind. See, you can't help yourself. Our choices are limiting. Your choices are liberating. There's no world where you're wrong and we're right. Because there are actual frameworks for analyzing these things, actual theory and research. And, Mom, Olivia's voice is gentle now. What if you're not happy because you're so busy being right? The question echoes what Sophie said before. What my mother has implied for years. What I've been avoiding confronting. My work is important. We know, Marcus says. We're not saying it isn't. We're saying maybe it's not everything. What else is there? They look at each other, some silent sibling communication. Us, Sophie says finally. There's us, your actual children, not your theoretical children. We're here, and we love you, and we want you in our lives. but not if it means constantly being measured against your ideology and found wanting. Feel tears starting and don't try to stop them. I thought I was doing everything right. You did the best you could, Olivia says. You raised us to think for ourselves. We're doing that. It just doesn't look like you expected. You're supposed to be better than I was. We are better, just in different ways. Cry harder. Years of certainty crumbling. Sophie gets up and comes over, hugs me awkwardly, then Marcus, then Olivia, and we're all tangled together. There haven't held them like this in years. When did I stop hugging my children? They let me cry until I'm empty. When I finally pull back, they're all watching me with something like hope. I'll come to the showcase, I say to Sophie. Front row, and I'll try not to analyze it. That's all I'm asking. And I'll come to your next game. I tell Marcus. Though I can't promise I'll understand what's happening. He grins, and I see the little boy he used to be. I'll explain it to you. And dinner with Connor, I say to Olivia, though the words taste strange. When? This weekend? Saturday night? Okay, Saturday night. They're all smiling now, careful but genuine. We should let you sleep, Olivia says. You look exhausted. They file out and I'm alone again. But it feels different, somehow. Less like abandonment, more like space. Get into bed and actually sleep through the night for the first time in weeks. Wake up to sun through the window and texts from all three kids. Sophie, thanks for agreeing to come, Mom. Marcus, game is at 7 on Friday if you can make it. Olivia, Connor is really nervous about dinner, lol. Respond to each of them with simple affirmations. Get up and make real coffee, eat actual responder. Breakfast. Open my laptop and look at the work I've been avoiding. Write an email to my editor explaining I need to take a leave of absence. Not forever. Just time to recalibrate. She responds with understanding and concern, tells me to take care of myself, spend the next few days in a strange limbo. Not working but not quite living either. Trying to figure out who I am if I'm not the person I've been for 20 years. Friday comes and I dress for Marcus's game. Jeans and a sweater, nothing special. Arrive at the gym early, find a seat in the bleachers. Other parents around me, chatting and laughing. I realize I don't know any of them, have never come to these. Marcus spots me during warm-ups. His whole face lights up. Waves, and I wave back. The game starts, and I'm completely lost. People are yelling things I don't understand. The ball moves so fast I can barely track it. But Marcus is good. I can see that, even with my limited understanding, he moves with confidence and skill, working with his team. There's joy in how he plays, pure, uncomplicated joy. He scores and his teammates swarm him, celebrating. Find myself on my feet, cheering with everyone else. He looks up at me and grins. In that moment, I'm not thinking about sports, culture, or masculinity or any of it. I'm just watching my son be happy. They win, and afterward Marcus finds me with his teammates. Mom, this is everyone. Guys, this is my mom. They're polite, respectful, typical teenage boys. Not the toxic masculine nightmares I'd imagined. Just kids playing a game they love. You were really good, I tell Marcus. Yeah, you think so? I have no idea what I'm watching, but yes, you were good. He laughs and hugs me, sweaty and happy. Thanks for coming, Mom. It means a lot. Drive home feeling something I can't quite name. Not happiness exactly, not yet, but maybe the absence of despair. Maybe that's enough for now. Saturday night, I dress for dinner with actual effort. Olivia picked the restaurant, somewhere casual but nice. Meet them there, and Connor stands when I arrive. Shakes my hand formally. It's nice to see you again, ma'am. We've met before but barely interacted, I've made sure of that. He's tall and solid, hands rough from farm work, earnest face. We make small talk while we wait for a table. He asks about my work, seems genuinely interested. Talks about the farm, about his plans for sustainable practices. I'm waiting for him to say something objectionable, reveal his traditionalism. But he's just nice, respectful to Olivia in ways I can't critique. He asks her opinion, listens when she talks, clearly adores her. Watch them together and see real partnership. Different from what I would have chosen, but real nonetheless. Over dinner, I ask him questions I should have asked months ago. About his family, his goals, what he loves about farming. He's thoughtful in his answers, Clearly hasn't examined things through my frameworks, but has examined them through his own. Talks about stewardship and community and legacy. Values I've dismissed, but hearing him articulate them, they sound less hollow. Olivia is glowing, watching us interact. Connor's teaching me about crop rotation, she says at one point. And she's helping me with the business side, he adds. She's way better with numbers than I am. They have plans, real plans, for building something together. Not the life I imagined for my daughter, but a life she clearly wants. The life she's choosing. What do you think, Mom? Olivia asks as we're finishing dessert. I think he makes you happy, and that's not nothing. She reaches across the table and squeezes my hand. It's not nothing, she agrees. Drive home alone and sit in my car in the driveway. Everything I believed is still in my head, all the theory and analysis. But it feels less solid somehow, less totalizing. Like maybe there's room for something else alongside it. Finally go inside and find Sophie in the kitchen making tea. How was dinner? Good. He's a good person, your sister's boyfriend. He is. He makes her really happy. Sophie pours 2 cups and hands me one. We sit at the table together in comfortable silence. Are you still coming on Wednesday to the showcase? I promised I would. I know. I just wanted to make sure. I'll be there, Sophie. Front row. She smiles into her tea. You don't have to love dance or think it's feminist or anything. I just want you to see me. I want to see you. I'm sorry I haven't been. It's okay. Well, it's not okay, but I understand it's hard for you. My 15-year-old daughter understanding my emotional complexity. When did she get so wise? When did you all grow up? I ask her. I don't know. You were there for most of it, just looking at something else. The truth of that sits heavy. I was so sure I knew what I was doing. You did know what you were doing. You just didn't know what we'd do with it. Wednesday arrives, and I'm nervous in a way I wasn't for the game or dinner. Dance feels different, more loaded. Sophie in pink performing femininity on stage. Everything I've critiqued, embodied by my daughter. Arrive early, get a seat in the front row as promised. Read the program, find Sophie's name listed several times. She's in more pieces than I realized, clearly a featured dancer. The lights dim, and music starts. Watch young dancers perform with varying levels of skill. Then Sophie comes on stage, and something shifts. She's transformed, fully present in a way I've never seen. The technical skill is obvious even to me, but it's more than that. She's telling a story with her body, communicating something wordless. There's power in it, real power. Not the power I've spent my career defining, but power nonetheless. The strength required for those movements, the discipline, the artistry. She's in complete control of her body and the space, commanding the audience's attention through skill and presence. Watch her and feel. Something crack open in my chest. This is my daughter. This is who she chose to be, and she's magnificent. The piece ends, and I'm on my feet applauding before I realize I'm standing. She takes her bow and finds me in the audience. The smile on her face is worth everything. Wait after to congratulate her with the other parents. She comes out in street clothes, hair still pinned up, glowing, throws her arms around me. You came. You actually came. Of course I came. Sophie, you were incredible. Yeah? Really incredible. I had no idea you were that good. I tried to tell you. I know. I'm sorry I didn't listen. Meet her dance teacher, who praises Sophie's dedication and growth. Other parents congratulate her. She's clearly respected here. This whole world she built without me. Drive her home, and she talks about the performance, what went right and wrong. I listen without trying to redirect or reframe. Just listen to my daughter talk about something she loves. When we get home, Marcus and Olivia are waiting. How was she? Marcus asks. Absolutely amazing, I tell them honestly. Sophie blushes, and they high-five her. We end up in the living room together, all 4 of us, talking about the performance and the game and Olivia's upcoming visit to the farm. Just talking, like a family, like we haven't in years. The next few weeks are strange. I'm not working, not actively pursuing anything, just trying to be present for the life happening around me. Go to more of Marcus's games, slowly learning the rules. Have dinner with Olivia and Connor again. He's growing on me despite myself. Watch Sophie practice at home, her discipline and focus. Start cooking dinner regularly, insisting we eat together. The kids are surprised but willing. Conversations are stilted at first, we're all out of practice. But gradually they warm up, sharing their days. I practice listening without correcting or contextualizing. It's harder than any work I've ever done. One evening, Olivia asks what I'm going to do about my career. I don't know yet. Are you going to quit? I don't think so. I still believe the work is important. But, Sophie prompts, but maybe I need to hold my beliefs differently, less tightly. What does that mean? Marcus asks. I'm not sure yet. Still figuring it out. Olivia nods slowly. I think that's good, Mom. The certainty was kind of a lot. Was I really that bad? They all exchange glances. You were pretty intense, Sophie says diplomatically. Everything had to mean something, Marcus adds. Nothing could just be what it was. I wanted you to think critically about the world. And we do, Olivia says. We just don't always come to your conclusions. Nod and take this in. Still working on not arguing. My mother visits the next month and is shocked by the changes. You look different, she says, studying my face. I'm sleeping more. It's more than that. You look less. Miserable? I was going to say burdened. We're in my kitchen, the kids at school, just the two of us. I've been trying to let some things go. Like what? Like needing to be right all the time. Like controlling how my children turn out. Like thinking I have all the answers. My mother is quiet for a moment. That must be hard for you. It's been excruciating, actually. She laughs softly. I imagine so. You've always been so certain about everything. You never were. Certain, I mean. No, I mostly just tried to love you and hope for the best. I thought that was lazy parenting. I thought I was better because I was intentional. And now? Now I think maybe you understood something I didn't. She reaches across the table and takes my hand. Your children are wonderful, sweetheart. All three of them. They are. They're not what I planned, but they're wonderful. Maybe that's the point. She stays for a week, bonds with the kids in ways I envy. They're easy with her, relaxed, themselves. Comes watch her with them and see what I couldn't give. Uncomplicated acceptance, joy in who they are. After she leaves, I sit with the loneliness. Realize I've lost most of my friendships over the years. People fell away, or I pushed them away when they didn't meet ideological standards. The community I thought I had was really just a network of like-minded professionals. Not friends, not really. Start thinking about what I actually want. Not what I should want. Not what's politically important. But what would make my life feel less hollow. The answer, when it comes, is simple and devastating. I want connection. I want joy. I want to know my children as they are. I want to stop being afraid all the time. Afraid that pleasure is complacency, that happiness is ignorance, that acceptance is complicity. Start working with a therapist, something I resisted for years. Because therapy was for people who couldn't think their way through problems. But thinking hasn't solved this. She asks what I'm afraid of, and I can't answer at first. Finally, I'm afraid that if I let go of being right, I'll have nothing left. What if there's something else underneath? What if there isn't? Work on this in session after session. Slowly, painfully, examining what I built my identity on. The therapist doesn't tell me my beliefs are wrong, but helps me see how I've weaponized them against connection. How being right became more important than being loved. How I chose ideological purity over human messiness. Months pass and I start writing again. Not articles or speeches, just for myself. Trying to make sense of what happened. How I got from there to here. Write about certainty and how seductive it is. Write about raising children as if they were projects instead of people. Write about the difference between principles and rigidity. Write about my children with honesty for the first time. Who they actually are, not who I wanted them to be. Sophie reads what I'm writing one day when I leave it open, comes to talk to me about it. This is really honest, Mom. Too honest? No, it's good. It's real. I'm thinking about maybe publishing something, eventually, not the usual venues. What would you say? That I got a lot wrong, that ideology without love is just cruelty, that my children taught me more than I taught them. She sits with this. Will your people hate you for that? Probably some of them. Is it worth it? I think it might be. I think maybe someone else is where I was and needs to hear they can choose differently. She hugs me suddenly. I'm proud of you. Coming from her, it means everything. Olivia announces she and Connor are engaged on a random Tuesday. She's 17, which seems impossibly young. But she's calm and certain and happy. My immediate instinct is to object, to list all the reasons this is too early. Take a breath and just hug her instead. Congratulations, honey. You're not going to tell me I'm too young? You are very young, but you're also thoughtful. And you know, your own mind. We're not getting married until after I finish college, Connor insisted. That's good. That's smart. She studies my face. You really mean it? The congratulations? I'm trying to. I'm happy if you're happy. I am happy, Mom. Really happy. Watch her call Connor to tell him I didn't freak out. His relief is audible, even from across the room. Realize he was genuinely worried about my reaction. What kind of person did I become that people fear my responses? Marcus gets recruited to play basketball in college. A small school, but a good program. Partial scholarship. He's ecstatic, and I'm genuinely proud. Go to his signing day at school, watch him make it official. Other parents congratulate me, and I accept it awkwardly. I haven't been part of this community. They don't quite know what to make of me. But they're kind anyway, generous. Marcus gives a short speech thanking his coaches and teammates and family. Mentions me specifically. Says I believed in him even when he wasn't sure I did. The almost lie of it is both generous and painful. But I'm trying to be who he's describing. Trying to become someone worthy of that grace. Sophie gets into the pre-professional company. Youngest dancer they've accepted in years. She's over the moon, already planning her training schedule. Ask if I can take her to dinner to celebrate. Just the two of us. She's surprised but agrees. Over pasta and breadsticks, I ask her about her dreams, not to critique them, just to understand. I want to dance professionally, maybe in a company, maybe on Broadway. I want to teach eventually. Those are good goals. You think so? I think anything pursued with your level of dedication is worthwhile. Even if it's not changing the world, maybe it is changing the world. Just not the way I thought change had to look. She considers this. I'm never going to be a feminist the way you are, Mom. I know. Does that still bother you? Honestly, sometimes. I'm working on it. She appreciates the honesty. I don't think I'm betraying women by wanting to dance or wear pretty things or eventually get married and have kids. I'm trying to understand that. Are you getting there? Slowly. Very slowly. She reaches across the table. Thank you for trying. That's actually all I wanted. Just for you to try. Cry a little in the restaurant. Don't even care who sees. My youngest daughter comforting me while I grieve my own rigidity. Start accepting speaking invitations again, but different ones. Smaller venues. Different audiences. We'll talk about what I learned instead of what I know. Talk about the gap between theory and practice. Ideology and love. Some people are angry. Say I've sold out or given up. Others message me privately saying they relate. They've struggled too. One woman writes about her own estrangement from her adult children. I thought I was doing everything right too, she says. Help her as much as I can. Share what I'm learning. Realize this. Honesty might be more valuable than the certainty I used to project. My career shifts, become smaller but maybe more meaningful. Less about platform, more about genuine connection and exploration. Write a piece about ideological parenthood and its costs. The most honest thing I've ever written. It's controversial, generates exactly the backlash I expected, but also generates conversations that feel real. People wrestling with similar questions, similar failures. Maybe this is what I should have been doing all along. Sitting with questions instead of insisting on answers. It's fall when we all sit down for a family meeting. The kids initiated it, said they wanted to talk. Brace myself for whatever comes. We've been thinking, Olivia starts, about Thanksgiving. Okay, we want to do it here, all of us. And we want to invite Connor's family and Dad and Jennifer. The thought of hosting that many people, playing happy family with my ex and his wife. And Grandma, Sophie adds. She should come too. That's a lot of people. We know, but we want our families to know each other, to be together. Connor's mom is going to bring her famous green bean casserole, Olivia says, and Jennifer offered to do the turkey, Marcus adds. We thought you could do your stuffing, Sophie says. Everyone loves your stuffing. They're all looking at me hopefully. This picture they're painting of blended families and connection. Everything I used to think was compromise and settling. But looking at their faces, the hope and love there. Okay, I hear myself say. Let's do it. They cheer and start planning immediately, talking over each other about who will bring what, how to arrange seating. I sit back and watch them coordinate this life they want. This big, messy, traditional, joyful life. And try to find my place in it. Thanksgiving comes and the house is chaos. Connor's family arrives first, friendly and warm. His mother hugs me like we're old friends, even though we've barely met. My ex and Jennifer come next, bearing wine and appetizers. The kids are everywhere, helping cook, setting up, mediating introductions. My mother arrives last and surveys the scene with undisguised delight. Well, isn't this wonderful, she says. Dinner is loud and crowded, and nothing like the quiet, intentional meals I used to insist on. Connor's father tells long stories about farming. Jennifer and Olivia bond over recipes. Marcus and my ex talk basketball. Sophie shows my mother her latest choreography videos. I mostly listen, watching my children navigate this gathering they created. Connor's mother asks about my work and seems genuinely interested. Doesn't agree with all my positions, but engages thoughtfully. We have an actual conversation, not a debate. It's surprisingly pleasant. After dinner, helping clean up in the kitchen with the other women, something I would have analyzed and critiqued before. But right now, it's just people helping, talking, connecting. Your children are wonderful, Jennifer says quietly. You should be very proud. Thank you. They're pretty great. Olivia talks about you all the time. How hard you've worked to understand them lately. Surprised she shares that much with her stepmother. I'm trying. It shows, and it matters. Later, everyone's in the living room, full and happy. Sophie suggests charades, and suddenly we're all playing, watching my mother act out movie titles while Marcus guesses. Seeing my ex and Connor's father laugh together. Olivia and Connor curled up on the couch, so clearly in love it hurts. Sophie, in the middle of everything, orchestrating and organizing. This is what I almost missed. This messy, imperfect, traditional, joyful gathering. Because it didn't match my vision of what liberation should look like. After everyone leaves, and it's just the 5 of us cleaning up. That was really nice, you guys. Thank you for organizing it. You're welcome, Olivia says. We were thinking maybe we could make it a regular thing. I'd like that. Finish cleaning in comfortable silence, working together. Marcus takes out the trash without being asked. Sophie loads the dishwasher we bought last month. Yes, I bought a dishwasher. Small surrenders everywhere. Olivia wipes down the counters and I wash the serving dishes. Mom, Sophie says as we're finishing up. Yeah, are you happy? The question she asked me years ago. The one I deflected. Think about it honestly, before answering. I'm getting there. I'm not miserable anymore. That's something. That's a lot, actually, Marcus says. Are you glad we pushed you? Olivia asks. To change, I mean? Yes, even though it's been one of the hardest things I've ever done. Harder than writing a book, Sophie teases. So much harder. Books don't talk back. They laugh and finish cleaning. Hug each of them good night, holding on a little longer than necessary. They don't pull away. Sit alone in the quiet house after they've gone to do. Bed. House full of the evidence of the day. Dishes drying, leftovers in the fridge. Think about where I was a year ago, drowning in regret, uncertainty, and isolation. Still not sure I have this all figured out. Still sometimes feel the pull of my old rigidity, my old answers. Still sometimes look at my children's choices and want to argue. But I'm learning to sit with discomfort. Learning that love is more important than being right. Learning that my children are not my legacy or my proof of concept. They're just people trying to build good lives. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's everything. Open my laptop and start writing. Not for publication, just for me. Trying to capture this feeling before it slips away. the feeling of being wrong and being loved anyway, of certainty crumbling and finding something truer underneath, of children who grew up despite me, not because of me, who had the grace to keep trying with me even when I made it hard. Write until my eyes are heavy. Go to bed in a house full of people I love who don't agree with me, and somehow, impossibly, sleep better than I have in years. The despair hasn't fully lifted. Probably never will completely. But it's not devouring me anymore. I'm learning to live with it, alongside joy and connection and uncertainty, learning that maybe this is what it means to grow, not having all the answers. Just showing up anyway,